Well guys, here is where the 350Z has been since mid-May of 2021. Of course, we had it stored in my garage in Charleston the entire time I was in school. And since then, it has moved up here. You can see it is just full of random stuff that the movers wouldn't touch. Like this box goes in the back. It's full of all flammable liquids and things like that. But I've had to take the battery out because it's been sitting in here for a few months. The battery has gone dead. It is the very end of September and our lease here ends in October. So we're going to be pulling out tonight. Just wanted to give you guys a look at the car before we get it over to the shop. It was completely boxed in with stuff. I had it shoved back in the back corner, and all of this area here was completely full of stuff that didn't fit in our apartment, so it was completely trapped in. But good news is the car fired right up when we had to move it. So when the guy came to pick the car up and move it from Charleston up to Greenville, North Carolina, fired right up, had good oil pressure, there's nothing wrong with it. So all that work that we did way back in 2019, changing the oil and getting everything up and ready to go, all of that worked perfectly. So the car is still in running shape, which is good. You know, I don't have anything I need to replace right off the bat. But what we're going to do is air up the tires, make sure everything is good to go, because it has been sitting here a little while. The battery is back at the shop charging right now, so we will get everything all good to go. We'll come back tonight, and we will drive it over to my shop. It is only about, I don't know, maybe a 3-mile drive, so it's not a big deal. But I just want to make sure everything's good to go. I don't want any drama while I'm driving it back. And actually over here in the Mini, I do have some casters for it. So what we're going to do is put it in the shop, put it on some casters so I can just roll it over to the side and allow the M5 to get in and out a lot easier, because it's going to be leaving the shop a lot more than this will. So we'll be back here tonight and picking up the car, and I'll show you guys us getting it into the garage. Before we go get a 350Z, I did want to show you what we're going to be doing to store it. So while it is here in the garage, because we only have the one large door entrance and we've got the 2 bays here in the garage, I'm going to be using these vehicle dollies I got from Harbor Freight. They have a 1,500 pound capacity per corner, so we have way more capacity than we need, more than twice the amount of the 350Z. So we can move my wife's E70X5M, we can move my M5, we can move the Mini, we can move any car that we should ever get, including eventually the passenger van, with these dollies if we need to. I literally just assembled them. They seem to roll really smoothly. They seem nice. We'll see what they're like under load, but I don't think I'll have any problem moving a 350Z around in here. The floor is really flat. There aren't any large creases or, you know, differences in level. It's a pretty good surface to start with. So what I'm going to do is get the 350Z here, jack it up, drop it down on these, and then tuck it up against the wall so the M5 can park right here in this bay. But I'll show you guys that once we have everything set up. And eventually I'll be doing a review of these just to let you guys know how they are. It was $120 for all 4 of them, which I'd say is actually a pretty good deal. It's a quarter of the cost of the ones that you have to press up and jack up with your foot. Like you can crank up the 2 spindles together to pick the wheel of the car up. I think for the limited number of times I'm going to jack up the 350Z to put it on these, I don't think it's worth it for me to spend that much more money, but we will see. Well guys, here is the Z in its final storage place, or at least where we're going to be for the next, I don't know, 10, 20 years. We have it out in my shop. We've got it on the rollers here from Harbor Freight. They actually work pretty well. It's a little bit difficult to change directions, but once all the wheels are in the same direction, it's pretty easy to move it around. It's not something I want to do all the time, but at the same time, if I really need to push it or if I need some help, I can always go grab my wife to kind of help move things in certain directions. But it wasn't too difficult for me to move it from where it was sitting, which is where the M5 is now. That's where it was sitting. I was able to push it further back into the corner and over to the side up against the wall. So it is way out of the way. I have a lot more room now because of that. Now, it is going to take me a little bit of time to get this up and running. It fired right up, drove straight over here. It wasn't an issue at all. I drove it probably 4 miles to get here, and after letting it get up to oil temperature and everything a little bit, I did push it a little bit, and just because I haven't driven this in 2.5 years, so I did really miss it. I love the X5M, I love the M5, I even love the R53, but this just holds a special place in my heart, just the sound and the way everything works. And I didn't fully realize how much I had missed it, so I'm really hoping to get this back on track soon, but we have a good bit of things I'd like to do first. I want to really knock out all the suspension and get new tires and wheels and stuff on it. We are going to be flat towing it to the track behind my wife's X5M for now, so we'll have to get a tow bar attached to the front, or where I can quickly, take everything in the front off and on. So that's something I'm going to be working on and trying to make it as easy as possible so I can tow it to the track, do my weekend, and drive back. What we'll probably do is I want to do maybe CMP just because it's a track I'm familiar with. We're currently only about an hour and a half from VIR, so that to be a much closer track, but it's something that I haven't driven before. I've just visited and watched races there, so I don't know if I want to do my first track weekend back out at VIR, especially because it's a lot more expensive than CMP. So we'll just see. I'll have to see how far it is, everything. I may do in-car. That's one I've never done before, but it looks like it's pretty low threshold and it's a lot cheaper. It's like $200 a weekend. So in-car is definitely something I would consider. So we'll just see. But the car is here. The car runs. Technically, the car is ready to go. It wouldn't take a whole lot to get it back out on track, but I just want to make sure that if we're going to spend the time and money to get out on track, it's something that is actually going to be a good experience. We're going to get the full weekend. It's not something where I'm going to drive 1 or 2 sessions and have to come home. And there's the fact that we just moved and I'm starting a new job and my wife wants to do some things to the house and I have to kind of make up for all the time that I spent at grad school. So there's a lot of catching up to do. So the 350Z will probably not be on track for 2021. A little disappointing. I would have liked to have seen it on track in late November, early December, but that may not happen. I'm going to try, but I would shoot for early next year. We'll get it back out on track, and then we can have a big 2022. So, of course, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully this video will be enough to tide you guys over for what we're going to be doing in the future, because I promise it will be big. It will be great. This car will get a lot of love. Just give me a little bit of time to get everything in order, and I promise it'll be worth it. So if you guys have any questions or comments, go ahead and drop those below. Hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys next week.